Every time I mention spirituality, a lot of people seem to think that it has something to do with religion or that it's some sort of woo-woo stuff, but that's all wrong. Today I'm actually going to explain to you what a spiritual awakening is in the least woo-woo, non-religious way possible. And I honestly believe that what I'm about to say to you, it's not only going to change the way you look at yourself, but it's also going to change the way you look at the world.
Started as a whisper, message from a new world I'd never known.
It's great to be here. Thank you for being there and welcome to the video. So before we get into this, I really want to ask you a question, and that is, do you have a voice in your head? Do you have a voice in your head that's like narrating your life and like telling you what to do and telling you what to believe and stuff like that? If your answer is yes to that question, then congratulations, because you're already aware of that voice. If no, then congratulations, because you just became aware of that voice for the first time when it said no in your head. So I want to start this thing with a little thought experiment, and this is just for you to get aware of that voice. So I want you to say hello to yourself repeatedly inside of your head. Now make that voice louder. And now turn that voice into Morgan Freeman's voice. And now I want you to visualize a strawberry and turn that strawberry blue. See, that's the sort of voice that I'm talking about. It can both come up as a voice and it can both show you pictures in your mind. So it can actually seem like you're in control of this voice, that you're able to visualize strawberries, for example. You're able to hear Morgan Freeman's voice saying hello to yourself repeatedly in your head. But 99.9% of what this voice is telling you, or what these images are showing you in your head, that's actually bullshit. It has nothing to do with you. You're actually gonna realize that this voice is the voice that is running your life. It's controlling you and it makes you believe whatever it wants you to believe. This voice actually tells you what opinions to have, what food to eat, your likes and dislikes in your life, your general opinion about stuff. And it tells you to get annoyed about things as well. And if you start to react on these things, then this voice is going to run your life. So this voice, the ego it's called, this is actually installed into our brains to help us survive back in the day when we lived in tribes. So imagine like if you were to be cast out from a tribe back in the day, you would starve to death because we were dependent on our tribe. Our tribe helped us with food, it helped us with shelter, it helped us with security if any threats would arise. So the ego, or the voice's job, is to have us stay in our comfort zones because we feel secure, we feel safe, and we feel like we're not gonna end up alone and die. And that's why we're so afraid of being judged by other people, because that's the voice telling us that we should stay in our comfort zone and not face our fears and not challenge ourselves and just basically stay where we are in a risk-free life, living as comfortable as possible. The ego, or the voice, it's still installed in our brains because our brains really haven't evolved for like 200,000 years. So we basically look the same as we did back then. Instead of going out in the world and actually chasing the life that we absolutely love, we're afraid of being judged so that we would be cast out from our tribe. It's not going to happen nowadays, obviously, but that's the sort of biological fear that we have in us, and that's what this voice is for. Public speaking is actually the most common fear in the world, just because we're afraid of being judged what other people would think of us. And this is because of this biological fear that's installed into our brains. So a spiritual awakening basically is the sort of intuitive insight that you are not this voice. It means that for the first time in your life you take a step back from this voice and you realize that you're not being this voice, but you're actually the one becoming aware of it. That's one of the biggest things that happened to me in my life. I used to be depressed, I used to be anxious, I used to be stressed and everything. And after my spiritual awakening 4 years ago, my life has just gone straight up, and it's just because I disidentified from this belief of being scared of being judged by other people, and I saw all my fears from another point of view. I saw that my fears, that's just thoughts, it's nothing else, it's not the truth. It's just the ego, the voice that's been telling me my entire life what to think, what opinions to have, what to do in my life. And I was being run by that voice for 25 years of my life, and I had my spiritual awakening when I was 25. And looking back, it's been a crazy journey, but it's also been the best 4 years of my life leading up to this point. So the story about my spiritual awakening is quite a bit of a funny one, because I feel like a lot of people, they have an awakening like happening gradually over time. And for me, it didn't happen like that at all. It was just like one instant sort of realization, and that changed my life. And I'm definitely going to remember that for the rest of my life. Because like I said, my life has gone straight up after I had my awakening. And I was actually doing sit-ups in the gym. I was gonna do 3 sets, and before my awakening, I've always like identified myself as being very lazy, a very lazy person, because the voice in my head was telling me that I was lazy. I always wanted to take the easy way out. I always wanted to take shortcuts and everything like that. So I was in the gym doing sit-ups, and I heard the voice telling me that, all right, remember, you're lazy. You don't have any more energy in you. Just quit and go home. So I just stopped doing my sit-ups and I was like, yeah, I'm lazy. And I was gonna grab my keys and my phone and I was gonna leave. And when I came halfway there, I sort of like stopped and it felt like I was like, what the hell just happened? And I sort of like felt like I zoomed out a little bit from myself. So it was almost like I could see myself from another angle in a weird way, not from above, not from behind, but like, I can't explain. It was definitely one of the most bizarre experiences I've ever had in my life. It was nothing uncomfortable. It was like super fucking pleasant. It was awesome. But I've never experienced anything like that ever before. It was an out-of-body experience, and it felt like I could see myself from this weird angle. And I started laughing. I was like, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? That was a voice telling me that I'm lazy, that I can't finish my last set. So I was like, I wouldn't tell that to myself. I'm not lazy. I'm gonna go back and finish my set. So I went back to the sit-ups thing and I like really pushed myself and I did so well. And afterwards I was feeling so happy and I like laughed in the car on the way home because this was obviously the first time that I got aware of the voice in my head. So this is what a spiritual awakening is. It's when you realize that you are not the voice in your head. You realize that you're just the one being aware of this voice. You don't have to believe everything it says. You don't have to identify with it. You can just look at it, you can observe it, you can laugh at it and just have a little bit of fun with it. So the following weeks after my awakening, I was working in Sweden as a bike mechanic then, and I worked evenings and I finished at around midnight, and every time I drove home from work I always drove past McDonald's and I went into the drive-thru and I ordered whatever food because I listened to that voice telling me that, oh, you need food, you're hungry, you need McDonald's. And I was identified with that voice. And the weeks after my spiritual awakening, every time I approached McDonald's then, I hear that voice telling me that I had to go in and do the drive-thru. But I was like, nope, not gonna do that. It's just the voice telling me I'm gonna do that. I'm not the one telling me that. After this awakening, I got really committed into the gym. I got really committed to eating healthy. And this is actually what started my weight loss journey 4 years ago. It's revolutionized my life in such a way that it's, I can't even begin to describe how much I want people to feel the same feelings that I did. Because if everybody would have this sort of insight that I did, then the world is gonna change for the better. Because I feel like you become more aware of yourself and you become more aware of the world. And it also triggers this sort of thing in you where you really want to start facing your fears and go after your dreams and go after your purposes in life. So one of the big things that I did when I started transforming my life was that everything that voice or everything that the ego was telling me to do, I did the opposite every time. You feel like you're depressed and you feel like you're anxious and your mind is telling you to sit by the computer and play video games. That's totally fine. You're allowed to do whatever you want with your life. But if you want to escape from the depression, if you want to cure the anxiety, try actually and do the opposite of what your mind is telling you, because your mind is telling you to do one thing and you've been listening to it, which has made you depressed. So if you try to do the opposite, maybe it will get you undepressed, if that makes sense. It wouldn't hurt to try. Like it's definitely going to be uncomfortable to do the opposite of what your mind is telling you to, but discomfort is not going to kill you. Discomfort is just going to make you stronger. A lot of people tend to grow from challenges and tend to grow from facing their fears. So I know what it's like. Fear means that you are afraid. It means that you have a biological response in your body that something ain't right. And that's fair. You don't have to be comfortable all the time, but you don't have to fear fear. You don't have to be afraid of fear. So if you can just realize that and do the opposite of what your mind is telling you, flip that switch and face your fears, challenge yourself, then I believe your life is going to take a turn, and I believe that your life is going to be better than ever. You're just gonna trust the process and let go of the outcome and believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, then believe in somebody else's belief in you. It's not always gonna be like super pleasant to go through a spiritual awakening because it's probably gonna shake around a lot of things in your life, but it's also gonna make you pursue your purpose and pursue whatever you feel is the most important thing in your life. Me, for example, I learned that I wanted to teach people how to suffer less, so that's one of the missions I feel like I have in my life and one of the purposes that I have. So I believe that the next step for us humans in our evolution is to actually transcend this way of thought, transcend the ego, transcend the voice in our head. So if you imagine how our world is being run right now, there's so much greed, there's so much pride, all the war that's happening in the world, everything like that is constructs of the ego. So imagine then how much work we have to do collectively to heal our planet and to become a united species, to achieve world peace and stuff like that. And if we were to transcend this way of thinking, transcend this way of life, then we would be in a very good path to achieve that sort of stuff. And that's why I'm making this video as well, because if I can inspire and teach one person on this planet to question their own beliefs and question their own minds and their own opinions about things, then we would be a more loving and accepting and open-minded world. And I think that that's what humans lack right now. We're extremely judgmental towards each other, and it's almost like we, as soon as we hear somebody that has a different opinion than ourselves, then we start hating that person and we never want to talk to that person ever again. When that actually can teach us something about our own views. The world would actually be such a greater place to live in if people would think like this. With that said though, I also think that it's a very exciting time that we live in, because we've never seen so many people waking up to their own beliefs. And for you that's watching, like, start questioning your own thoughts, start questioning your beliefs. You're gonna realize that a lot of new doors are gonna open up in your life. So how do we want our future to look? Do we want our future to be a repeat of our history? Like, imagine how much war, how much hate towards each other, how much judgment and stuff like that our history has as humans. And for us to actually get better than our history, then what do you think we need to do? Do we need to keep judging other people? Do we need to spread hate? Do we need to stay close-minded? No, it's the complete opposite. We have to practice love, we have to practice acceptance, we have to open up our minds. I just wish that more people would realize this about themselves, that hate is never going to solve anything. It's just acceptance and love that's going to solve whatever situation you're in. If you can accept whatever thing you're in, if you can accept other people for having different beliefs than you do, then there's nothing to hate. There's just things to be happy about. Videos like this are gonna keep coming because I have a lot of clients going on at work right now, and doing videos like this is way easier because my vlogs are still gonna come. So I'm not gonna stop my vlogs because I love doing that. It's just that my vlogs take up a lot of time. It takes about 2 to 3 days to make a vlog, and making a video like this is just about a couple of hours. So it's gonna be more videos like this coming, but you can expect my vlogs as well. Yeah, with that said, I really hope that you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And until I'm back with the next video, live a life of purpose.